Sabbath. Who is excited? Yes. Sing with us. Let's give God what he deserves. This was a rough week for everybody. So let's just leave it all on God's feet, and he'll take care of the rest. All these pieces broken and scattered, in mercy gathered, mended and whole, empty-handed but not forsaken. I've been set free. I've been set free. Oh, amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Oh, I once was lost, but now I am found. Was blind, but now I see. Oh, I can see it now. Oh, I can see the love in your eyes, laying yourself down, raising up the broken to take our failure, you take our weakness, you set your treasures in jars of clay. So take this heart, Lord, I'll be your vessel, the world to see your life in me. Oh, amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Oh, I once was lost, but now I am found. Was blind, but now I see. Oh, I can see it now. Oh, I can see the love in your eyes, laying yourself down, raising up the broken to life. Sing amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Oh, I once was lost, but now I am found. Was blind, but now I see. Oh, I can see it now. Oh, I can see the love in your eyes, laying yourself down, raising up the broken to life. This next song, it's a little new. I've been loving this song for months, and I always want to sing it, but you know how the system is set up. You gotta wait a little bit, and it's perfect. I'm glad I waited, because this song has been my anthem this whole week. It's been tough. Every week is tough. Every day is tough. But at the end of the day, when I feel lost, when I feel like I don't know what's my next step, God knows. I'm fully known by him. Every step, everything is in his hands. And And for that, I'm really thankful. It's so unusual, it's frightening. You see right through the mess inside me. And you call me out to pull me in. You tell me I can start again. And I don't need to keep on hiding. I'm fully known and loved by you. You won't let go. No matter what I do. And it's not one or the other. It's hard truth and ridiculous grace to be known, fully known and loved by sin. I'm fully known and loved by you. You won't let go. No matter what I do, and it's not one or the other. It's hard truth and ridiculous grace to be known, fully known and loved by you. It's unlike you to keep pursuing. It's so like me to go astray. Guard my heart with your truth, the kind of love that's bulletproof. And I surrender to your kindness. Oh, I'm fully known and loved by you. You won't let go. No matter what I do. And it's not one or the other. It's hard truth and ridiculous grace to be known, fully known and loved by. Sing, I'm fully known and loved by you. You won't let go. No matter what I do, and it's not one or the other. It's hard truth and ridiculous grace to be known, fully known and loved by you. He knows my name, and he knows my every thought, and he sees each tear that falls, and he hears me when I call. Sing, he knows my name. He knows my every thought. He sees each tear that falls, and he hears me when I call. Sing one more time. He knows my name. He knows my every thought. And he sees each tear that falls, and he hears me when I call. It's so unusual, it's frightening. Amen.
But before I start, I'm going to pray. So if you guys would bow your heads. Dear Lord, I thank you so much for allowing me to be on this stage, just giving me the opportunity to speak your word to your church, Lord. I ask that nothing that I say be from me. Let everything that comes out of my mouth be from you. Thank you so much for the wonderful things you're doing in my life, and the youth's life, and our parents' lives. Just thank you for being with us, Lord. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Amen. All right. So, my titles is Our Rebellious Hearts. And as you could probably tell, we're going to be talking about teens mainly, young adults mainly. So y'all parents are going to have a good old time tonight. But it is a sermon for everyone. So teens and young adults, we like to do things our own way. We have a certain way of doing things, whether it's right or wrong, whether we get some advice from people. We probably won't take it knowing us. No offense to y'all. Y'all advice is straight on, but it's just not how we operate. It's not. We like to be a little rebellious. We get into trouble. We get into situations, and if we really just would have listened to that advice that you guys gave, we could avoid it at all. Yeah. So, but getting into that trouble, it's a good and a bad thing. It's bad because, of course, we could have saved ourselves the trouble and the hardship. But it's good because at the end of the day, we're still going to learn that lesson. We're still going to have the trial to go through. So we can rebel against our parents. We can rebel against our teachers. Rebel against the system, authority. You name it, and we'd probably find a way to get around it. Their teachings, the instructions that you guys can give will just retrovertedly just go around it and do it our way. Because that's how we do it. We tend to take matters in our own hands regardless of what people think. Because we're rebellious. We like to stand up and do our own thing. A lot of things, or a lot of times, it's not just the parents, it's not just the system. We rebel against God as well. A lot of times, more than we'd like to admit it, actually. We rebel against Him by going against His word, not staying with Him, not connecting with Him, not heeding His advice, because He gives some good advice. But thankfully, we're not the only ones who rebelled against God. We're not the only ones who have gone around God's teaching and have just avoided Him. Take, for instance, Cain. Y'all know that story. Pharaoh, the plagues came upon him just because he wouldn't let Israel go. Adam and Eve. Ooh, that's subject. Jonah. Story of Jonah, God told him to go to Nineveh. And he was like, nah, I'm going to go the other way. The Israelites. Ooh. At the bottom of that mountain, praising that calf. And then I think one of the biggest ones that we don't really like to talk about, but Satan. He rebelled against God. He wanted to try and gain God's authority. He wanted to try and take His position. We saw how that worked out for him. That's only a couple that I've named. Other people like Korah, if you guys know the story of Korah. A lot of others. There's people in the Bible don't tend to want to go God's way until something gets pushed on them. So, And, lucky enough, these characters always had a way to get back with God, to get back on track with God. Either they do it themselves, or God kind of is like, yeah, I'm going to put something in your way so you can get back on that track with God. Now, we may not have to be swallowed by a whale. We may not have to toil the ground for a million bajillion years, but God will put us back on track. It's an easy thing he does. So, Hebrews 12:11 says, "No discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it."
Amen.
If we read that last little bit, it says, those who have been trained by it. That's key. That is important. Because sometimes us, young adults, will go through things. Not once, not twice, probably not even 3 times. See where I'm going? We go through things again and again because we can't seem to learn the lesson. Can't seem to get in our brain that, oh, if I touch that stove, it's going to be hot. I just want to touch the stove. I'm going to keep touching it. I'm still going to get burned every single time. So God will put us in situations time and time again, so if we didn't learn the lesson the first time, we'll learn it the next time, or maybe the next time, or some people maybe the next time. But we also have to realize that these problems that we put ourselves in, because our rebellious hearts want to go astray from God, these problems and predicaments we get ourselves into aren't always easy. Sometimes they're hard. We can get ourselves into some pretty sticky situations. Which leads me to tell you a story only a few people know about me. So, me and my brother, young kids, we've really wanted to go swimming. Like, that's all we wanted to do that day in the summer. We wanted to go swimming. And I don't know where my mom went afterwards, but she was like, no, you can't go swimming. You have to stay in the house because I'm doing something. Like, all right. Well, if we can't go out and swim, we'll bring the swimming to us. Our kitchen had a step down like this, right? So we took pillows from our couch and we blocked off the deal, the step down into the kitchen. And we turned on the faucets. Yeah, we turned on the faucets and we flooded our kitchen. We flooded our kitchen and we began to swim and we began to have all sorts of fun. We were put a rubber band around the little sprinkler thing. We were shooting water everywhere and we were just having a good time. As you can imagine, I had some consequences for that. Me and my brother definitely got it. But it leads into when we get ourselves into situations, sometimes we think that God's not there. It's the farthest thing from the truth it is. God's always there with you. In fact, he's right beside you. You may not know it, but he's walking hand in hand with you. He's just waiting for you to call on him. He's waiting for you to ask for you to help him. I don't think any amount of help from God could have got me out of what happened there. But and we also have to realize that God's not going to give us more than what we can handle. 1 Corinthians 10:13 states that clearly. you know? Bingo. Okay, it's all right. It's probably not up there. It's all right. Actually, I think it isn't up there, because I know why. That's my fault. But God is going to be there regardless. But what he ultimately decides to put you through is going to be for the benefit according to his will. Because we could go through situations where, say we got into a car accident, right? And our car's wrecked. Why are you looking? All right. Our car's completely wrecked. Like we need a new car, right? But God could say, all right, well, maybe you need to learn how to pick up that bike again and ride to your work and your school and everything. Hope he doesn't do that to me. But yeah, if it's in his plan, I won't say no. Well, you can't even say no. But in the end, it's going to be for your benefit. Whether we go through hardships and they're super hard, they're like you think you can't even get over them, or whether it's just a minor stumbling block, you will learn something from it. You will get something out of it that we don't know. But we will know when the thing happens. And yes, sometimes it's hard to believe that we can go through things because, I'm such a good Christian. I read my Bible, I pray, I do all this other stuff. But it doesn't matter, because if you got yourself into a situation, our rebellious hearts got ourselves into a situation, something's going to happen. Whether it's good or it's bad. But there is a purpose. That purpose, to God, is to retrieve and regain our hearts, our rebellious hearts, under any circumstance. Regaining our hearts, failure is not an option for God. That's not an option when regaining our hearts. It's a necessity, and it's a priority to him. So, we can rest assured that even when we do go astray and we get into situations and hardships, we're a priority for God to bring us back. So we know that when we go through things, we don't have to worry. It's for a purpose. But sometimes, it kind of seems like God's just standing on the sideline. It's like he's playing a reserved role. He's there, but he's not there. But that's okay, because we may not see what he's doing, but he's doing something. We know he's doing something right in front of us. The storm could be raging. We could be in a tsunami. You don't know, but God's like, hey, there's a house right over there. You can't see because it's all foggy, but if you keep going, you'll be able to see it. He's rigging the storm in our favor. So, God will let us endure the storm. He'll make us go through the storm. Even if it's because we walk straight into it. We're like, hey, that's a big tsunami over there. I'm going to just stroll into it. Let me just go jump right in there. But in the end, going through that storm will strengthen us and strengthen our relationship with him. Our rebellion caused that storm, but God will take that rebellion and use it for good. So, we can go through storms, but we know that it's all going to turn out better in the end. Even if the storms seem like they have skyscraper-sized tidal waves. You think there's no getting out of this one. You can't even see above where the the waves are. But that doesn't mean we should face it with any other attitude we face anything else. Now, what's this attitude we should face everything with? Well, you should know that God's going to pull you through, and if he doesn't, there's a reason. There's a reason why he doesn't pull you through. So, Ecclesiastes, right? I practice that so much. Ecclesiastes 3:1. Dang it, man. All right. Ecclesiastes 3:1 states, "There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens." So there's a reason why you're going through this. There's a specific time and place that is allowing you to get this understanding, get this teaching, get this lesson from the situation you put yourself into. Whether we like it or not, it doesn't really matter. Because if we got ourselves stuck in this storm, we just got to suck it up and walk through it. Because you saw it. All right, take for instance. So I'm driving down Forest Hill. It's a little vague, but I'm driving down Forest Hill and I see this raging storm just passing by on I-95. I could either get on I-95 and go through that storm or I could turn around and go take a different road all the way down to Boca or somewhere. I don't know. But we see the storm and we're like, hey, I'm going to go in it. Why? If God's allowing you to see that storm, there's a reason why he's allowing you to see that storm. He's trying to prepare you so you don't have to go through it. And when we go through it, now we just got to sit there and walk or drive or just go. Because he's trying to teach us something. And if we got ourselves in there, we might as well just keep on going. Get something out of it. But, so we have this sinful and rebellious heart that we have to deal with. So, the song that I played, Rebel Heart, it says, "Help me lay my renegade to rest." So, how do we do that? How do we lay this renegade to rest? It's kind of simple when you think about it. You just have to ask God to take your sinful and rebellious heart and change it so that your heart now aligns with his purpose and his will for you. That purpose, once you do that, will come alive in you so that you know that you're taking that right path that he has for you. But there lies a problem. There's always problems. You ask God for that one day, and the next day, you walk straight into that storm again. You knew it was there, you did it again. So you have to ask God this continuously. Every single day, every single moment. I don't like to think of it, but you could walk through the storm and get through it on the other side, and you're like, wait a second, I forgot something. And walk right back into it. Hopefully people don't do that, but sometimes people do. So every single moment should be us communing with God and asking him to align us with his path for us. But that may seem a little impossible sometimes. But there's good news in that, because anything's possible with God, right? Luke 1:37, "For with God nothing is impossible." Nothing. That means if you're having a hard time getting through that situation, you can call on God and he'll help you get through that situation. When you come up and face things, And it may seem like it's impossible. It really isn't. You just have to ask God. You have to call upon God. So, we know that our actions, because of our rebellious hearts, sometimes have consequences. But those consequences are ultimately for the betterment of ourselves. God won't put you through something, let you go through it, and not give you a lesson, unless he's going to do it again because you didn't learn it. So, or again, with some people. But we also know that we have to deal with those consequences at some point or another. If we walk through a storm, we're going to get wet, obviously. But that doesn't mean God's not there with you. Doesn't mean he's not there already making it to where the storm that was 2 miles long is now halved, because now it's 1 mile long, because he knows that you're going to go through it and that he wants you to succeed. And sometimes he'll step back and he'll let his plan that we can't fathom, that we can't even understand, play out, so that in the end we'll learn something from it. And we know that no matter how rebellious we can get, whether we walk away from God, whether we're not reading our Bibles, whether we're slacking up on praying, whether numerous, countless things, there's always a way to come back to God. There's always a way so that he can renew our hearts and change our hearts for the better and for his path. So, this issue about our rebellious hearts, it's simply fixed if you look to God, if you have that connection with God. If you don't, you start reading and you start praying. You need to do everything you can to make sure that that rebellious heart becomes changed. So, that's all I had. So, if you guys would bow your heads for a prayer, and then after prayer, we're going to go through announcements. So, dear Lord, I thank you so much for all the wonderful things you're doing for me, all the wonderful things you do through me. I ask that you continue to do those things. I ask that you revive the youth and let them become your instruments, just as our parents and our authority figures are. We should become the new generation that's stepping up, Lord. I ask that you keep fueling our fire inside of us, that we never stop having a true intimate relationship with you. I ask that you encompass our life to just allow us to not have to worry about anything, and that we can just call on you for everything. I ask this in Jesus' name, I pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen. Thank you, Tristan. God bless.
God bless.